Fashion waste is a major problem affecting landfills, waterways, and clothing donation centers globally. The rise in fashion and textile waste can be attributed to fast fashion and overconsumption habits that have become popular among most consumers. Today, more than half of all fast fashion that is produced is thrown away or discarded within less than a year. People also wear their clothing on average 36% less than they did 15 years ago. In the current fast fashion model, runway trends are often quickly knocked off by fast fashion and mass market retailers and reproduced quickly using cheap synthetic materials such as polyester. Often, new stock is produced every 2 weeks. In 2015, it was estimated that 150 million garments are produced every single year in our current fashion system. With the global population of the world only being 7.9 billion people, that amounts to over 18 new garments every year per person. So now I'm going to be giving an overview of the fashion waste issue. Less than 1% of discarded clothing and textiles are recycled into new, usable material. 12% of discarded clothing and textiles are repurposed into stuffing and industrial materials. 2/3 of discarded clothing and textiles are made from synthetic man-made materials that will take decades to decay and are hard to repurpose or recycle. The textile manufacturing industry is also one of the most environmentally damaging industries in the world. Manufacturing textiles requires a lot of energy and water, causes toxic chemical pollution and soil degradation, and produces a high amount of greenhouse gas emissions. Fashion waste comes from a number of different sources, including manufacturing and production, dyeing and finishing, the destruction of unsold clothing and fashion merchandise, and end of life. Fabric cutting is a substantial source of textile waste. During the manufacturing process, between 10 and 25% of the fabric is wasted in the pattern cutting process. The amount of waste depends on the garment type, size, and shape of the pattern, and the cutting techniques used. Around 10% of the fabric is usually wasted when cutting a pair of pants, and that amount is typically higher for blouses and outerwear and garments with more detail. In traditional garment-making processes, it's impossible for 100% of the fabric to be utilized. However, fabric waste needs to be considered from the beginning stages of the design and production process in order to eliminate excess waste. The fashion industry is also a major contributor to industrial water waste due to the dyeing and finishing processes used to manufacture clothing. Textile dyeing is the second leading cause of water pollution globally, and water from dyeing is often dumped into nearby streams, rivers, and oceans. Textile dyeing is responsible for 20% of all water pollution, and textile production uses 93 billion cubic meters of water annually. One of the biggest causes of fashion waste is the destruction of unsold merchandise for major fashion brands. In 2018, Burberry faced controversy after revealing that they destroyed $37.3 million worth of stock the previous year. Luxury and high-end retailers destroy unsold goods because they fear if they discount items, customers will see the brand as less valuable. In 2020, France banned the destruction of unsold merchandise. However, this is still common practice in many other parts of the world. By far, the biggest contributor to fashion waste is the post-life disposal of clothing. With so much new clothing being produced, many consumers throw away clothing after only a few uses. Globally, people discard $460 billion of perfectly usable clothing every single year. The UK spends $82 million on sending clothing to landfills every year. Americans also throw away 70 pounds of clothing each year per person. Now let's talk about some solutions for the fashion waste problem. The first solution is zero-waste fashion design, which is the process of discarding nothing and the creation of fashion. Most zero-waste techniques take shape into account to cut a pattern out of a single piece of fabric without creating any textile waste. Another solution is to advocate for slow fashion and conscious consumption. Slow fashion encompasses conscious consumption and awareness of the processes, materials, and approaches to the production of fashion. Slow fashion advocates for investing in higher quality, longer lasting garments and reducing consumption. Another solution is textile recycling. Textile recycling has many benefits, including that it decreases the number of textiles in landfills and avoids the use of virgin fibers. Although there are many benefits to textile recycling, it's often difficult because of the increased use of mixed and synthetic fibers. Action should be taken by both local and federal governments in order to combat this issue. Governments have the power to ban the destruction of unsold inventory, ban consumers from throwing clothes into landfills, and advocate for slow fashion and conscious consumption.